Welcome to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary. This is your host, Scotty B. Friends, Navi, Taki, Jenny Blake, Elastigirl, Chani, Ripley, Mara. She can do them all, friends. A talented cosplayer and creator. Her props and the things that she's created have won awards, and she puts a tremendous amount of creativity and imagination into everything she builds. An impressive cosplayer, to say the least. Please welcome the award-winning FancyJenCosplay to the show. Welcome, Jen. It's so great to have you on. Really, I love your YouTube channel, the things that you share there, and just everything that you've been putting on TikTok and some of the amazing cosplays that you have. Just so happy to have reached out to you. Really, the first one that I saw was your Sigourney Weaver, of course, from Ghostbusters.
I am the Keymaster.
I am the Gatekeeper.
Love the YouTube, and really just wanted to start there with your another cheesy cosplay video series. If you wouldn't mind just taking us through that and going into some of your origin story and how you got into cosplay.
Well, thank you so much for asking me to be on. This is the first time I've done an interview like this, so it's really exciting. But yeah, I got started doing theater when I was 7 years old. So I'd been doing community theater pretty much all the way up through college. So, but then, the real world hits and you got to get a real job and everything. And so that got pushed to the side for a while. But my husband is actually an author. And so he wrote a series of kind of sci-fi fantasy books, and we were hanging out at our local comic book store, and they would have local vendors come. And we noticed that there's a lot of cosplayers that would come to, like free comic book day and things like that. And I was like, I can make costumes. I can do this. Maybe people will come to your booth if I'm dressed up as something. And so that's how it all started. Was my very first cosplay was Dr. Girlfriend.
You know I've had dreams about you in an outfit like this, Fraulein.
Knock it off, Venture.
That's fantastic. So your husband is an author. Would you be okay dropping a few of the titles? I would be excited to share this with everybody who's listening.
Yeah, the main series is called The Chronicles of M, like the letter M. And it's kind of a modern day superhero series, but it also incorporates all sorts of other genres. Like he didn't want to make a one genre thing. So there's monsters and magic, and I came up with this whole list of things, but demons and it's like, but there's the main character is kind of an anti-hero superhero. And so it's the Chronicles of M. I believe there's 7 books in the main series. Wow. And then there's 3 that are like spin-offs where some of the side characters got like their own origin stories. So there's it's the, oh my gosh, I can't think of how to say the guy's name. It's this long Latin name, but he's gonna kill me for that. But Hitori is a Japanese demon slayer in 8th century Japan. And then there's the 5-man midget death squad, which is like fantasy dwarves that go around in like steampunk gear and fight monsters and stuff. So lots of different genres.
Well, that it sounds like a really cool, just like a really cool world or a universe that has a lot of like fun cosplays in it for sure. So that's a great place to get started. I mean, you had kind of a built-in fandom right there in your household, which is it's fantastic. And we're so glad that you did get started and that you shared as many cosplays as you have with all of us, Dr. Girlfriend, and so many others that have been very fantastic. And I know you do downplay the talent that you do have, both for theater and for cosplay sometimes with your video series on YouTube. I really do enjoy the videos that you share there, some TikToks that you put on your channel, but also just the videos in general, which are just they're funny, and I think they're inspiring and really creative. So yeah, it's very cool. Also, Focused Story Films, if that rings a bell. There was a collaboration there, and I do know that it's very hard to perform in rain. But you do have this out on YouTube. Would you like to talk about how you put those shorts together for Focus Story Films?
Well, Brian is a great videographer here in Kansas City, and he actually put out sort of a casting call for models or that were like had fitness experience or dance experience that would be willing to shoot in the rain. And one of the local photography studios actually made a rain machine, and it was funny because it was really just a garden hose like in circles up above you, but it really felt like you were in the rain. And it was a bit disorienting for if you were in there too long, because you're just used to all this, you can't hear anything and stuff like that. But yeah, it was kind of like I had to dance but not fall down. So, and not really travel too far. So it was a challenge, but it turned out great, especially how we did it in slow motion, and you can see all the different little raindrops come down. So it was a lot of fun. I'm glad I got to do it.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and yes, it takes a lot of work, and it's probably kind of uncomfortable too once you've been kind of soaked from being in the rain for so long. But yeah, you really you stepped up and did just such a great job with the whole shoot, and I think, again, just another fabulous piece that you've done, and just so many different things that kind of culminate on your channel and with all the content that you put out. One of them being your Aliens tribute video with Ripley, and you do a really just amazing job, not just with the Reeboks, but just with the character in general. Aliens is one of my all-time favorite movies. Actually, I think you hit almost all of the movies that are my favorites: Ghostbusters, Aliens, and Dune. So you basically nailed the trifecta on all of my favorite things. But I would love to talk about, and you do have a video on the Reeboks, but would love to talk about the shoes. You talk about creating the Reeboks. You go through just all of the detailing, and just some of the really big challenge. But just going through the details about the cosplay, were the shoes the biggest challenge? And did the whole cosplay come together in phases, or was it all at once? How did you put everything together?
It did come through in phases, just because Ripley's base outfit, is just a white t-shirt and some blue pants, which I did just go to the thrift store and got a white t-shirt and some blue scrub pants, and then just dirtied them all up with like tea and makeup and whatever I could find, some watered down paint. And then I was doing more research into the character, and I've seen Aliens a million times and had not ever really noticed the shoes. And I think I was just too young, when the movies were coming out, to like even, be aware that these shoes were like a thing and people were buying them. And you can buy them. They're like $1,500 now as you find them on eBay. So I was like, well, I got to make the shoes. And so I say that they're Adidas's cosplaying as Reeboks, because I just covered them in craft foam that was cut to make them look like the high tops that they are, and kind of sewed it together. I brought them up from the basement.
Very cool.
So
She
they're
has
here.
That's yeah, they're fabulous, and they really do. They look just like Ripley's shoes, especially in the video. I honestly, I thought you had just like kind of recommissioned a Reebok, just because of how good the logo looks on there.
I'm lucky to have a friend that owns several 3D printers, so he made these labels for me, that are just 3D printed and then glued on there, so that they can look all the more authentic, because I was like, I was not going to be able to draw that effectively, but yeah, if you take them apart, they look kind of raggedy on the inside. It's all like, because there's this back piece that wraps around my leg. And because they're craft foam, there's no stretch. So I had to make that like a separate piece from the bottom of the shoe. It's kind of an engineering challenge in that fact. But
I mean, it looks fabulous. I mean, it's fairly seamless, and I mean, it really looks like a shoe that you would basically buy in the future. So it's just very cool, the whole costume and the props, and of course there's another prop that goes along with the costume, which is a face hugger, which is kind of the antagonist of your video a little bit. He does end up getting you in the video. I did see that on your Instagram. It was the Ultimate Online Cosplay Championship, which you won. I believe you have a Judge's Choice Award for the Alien cosplay, and you have the award right next to the face hugger. I just wonder if you would be able to tell us a little bit more about the creation and winning the award.
Like I said, I made the pulse rifle and the flamethrower, and as I got more and more into the costume, I was like, I wasn't quite up for making a xenomorph. I probably could have forced my poor husband to be a xenomorph, but I could make the face hugger, which I made this about over 2 weeks last year. My plan was to enter the costume contest for Planet Comic-Con in last March, but it got canceled, of course, for COVID, like about a week before the convention. So I had Snuggles here and everything all packed up, ready to go. But luckily they had the Ultimate Online Cosplay Championship, so I at least got to enter into that. And Evil Ted is one of the great cosplay how-to guys on YouTube, and he was one of the judges. So he's a big Aliens fan as well. In fact, I used one of his videos to figure out how to make the pulse rifle. And so it seemed like a little bit of a suck up, but I was like, no, I really made this before I ever knew Evil Ted would ever see it. But it was one of those like, senpai noticed me kind of moments. He gave me his Judge's Choice Award because the amount of talent in that competition is just ridiculous. So I was like, I wasn't really expecting to win anything. It was just kind of like wanting to show off what I'd made in some capacity. But yeah, I've named him Snuggles. He's got the full everything.
Yeah, I mean, the detail is, I mean, it's, and I think I've said this before on the show, but really it is as good or better than the movie. Like just the level of detail, and like he's opposable, and oh man, that's it's just really cool to see that.
His base is actually like, he only cost me $12 because I had everything laying around my house except for the latex. He was a Halloween spider, so he was one of those. My mom had him in her Halloween decorations for years, so who knows how old he is. But he's this opposable Halloween spider that I basically covered in napkins from Arby's and some craft foam back here. That's just to make like kind of the lobster shell he's got going on here. This is some pillow foam, like one of those memory foam pillows. It was really old, so I just cut it up into this shape. And this is some hot glue and yarn that I painted blue first to kind of make it look more like veins. And then he's got a CPAP tube, some foam clay. These are press-on nails. And then this is all just more foam and hot glue on the face, and just different. I think there's some pipe cleaners maybe in here too. So it's all just kind of household stuff, just covered in napkins and then latex to keep it all glued together.
I would have never guessed, and I would have never thought outside the box quite that much to get the details right, thinking of like press-on nails and a tube for, I mean, because you need that sort of elasticity. But thank you for sharing it on the show, and thank you for just all the work that you put into each one of your cosplays. Another one that comes to mind is Zool. Again, one of my favorite movies ever, Ghostbusters. It's the ultimate story of entrepreneurship, and you did just an amazing job with everything, with the scenes, with the TikToks, with the character. You do a fantastic recreation of possessed Dana. And I think you do the there is no Dana, only Zool. And
Yeah.
it's so great. Talk about, and I know we're kind of going from one Sigourney Weaver to another Sigourney Weaver character, and you do a very great. It's just you resemble her when you put everything on and do the makeup and everything. It's you really characterize Sigourney in those roles. Talk about the characterization and what drew you into creating Dana and actually doing. I think you also have some Keymaster Gatekeeper moments and content too.
Well, Ghostbusters is one of my favorite movies too. My parents say that they took me to the movie when I was 3, and when it came out, and I was terrified, but I wouldn't look away. So I still had chills and everything from the librarian at the beginning of the movie, I think up until high school.
What I'd really like to do is talk to Dana. I want to talk to Dana. Dana, it's Peter.
There is no Dana. There is only Zoo.
Oh, Zuli, you nut. Now, come on. Come on, I want to talk to Dana. Dana, just relax. Come on. Dana. Can I talk to Dana?
There is no Dana, only Zoo.
What a lovely singing voice you must have.
And as Dana goes, she does that like flip of being Dana versus Zool, which is cool. And it's one of those things where it's a really sexy character, but she's still like completely dressed, really, which I wasn't comfortable with showing off too much at the time, but the costume is actually made out of curtains that used to hang up in my living room. So I took those down and kind of made like a big half circle to make her top. And I lined it with another fabric so it wasn't completely see-through, but it gives that cool like shimmery look. And it was just kind of a lucky thing that I had curtains that were the right color. And there was an old gold skirt I bought off of eBay so that I could cover that in the fabric. And the wig is a big important part. I was really happy to find like an 80s big hair wig. And I found over the time that like the more I am mean to it, the better it looks. Like you have to like tease it out and just like beat the heck out of this wig. And the more it looks like the character. So I think that's one of the biggest selling points is just having this giant hair. And I was fortunate too for the makeup side of it to find some really good YouTube videos of other girls that have done it. And I could kind of copy what they did, but also like make it fit my face. And it's good that there's a lot of like contouring built into the makeup. So that's kind of how I use it to make me look more like Sigourney, because she has like a very thin nose and thin lips. And so it's like you can definitely shape your face a bit more when you're covered in this like orange makeup. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I go out to some charity functions with our local group of Ghostbusters, and me and my husband is my keymaster.
He does Vince Goso.
He does Vince,
Goso.
yeah.
It's really just the two of you together in the cosplays. Just it's amazing, and I love the helmet too. His helmet is just spot on from right from right from the movie.
And most of that is we tore apart an old power supply that we had in the basement. So all the colored wires and things, it's all just like random computer parts that were just laying around. So it's one of those things you can keep adding to it as you find crazy things to stick to it.
Yes, well, that's fantastic. Being a part of the local group and being able to share that with the community and being able to give back through cosplay, something that we talk about here on the show quite a bit. And really, I'm such a big fan. I hope that you are able to continue to share the character and also some of the more noted quotes from the movie. As you just continue to cosplay. Switching gears a little bit from Sigourney Weaver, you recently did, well, a little while ago, you did a Mara photo shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just wondering if you might want to share some of the details of putting together that cosplay too.
That's actually a costume I wasn't planning on doing until I joined another charity group. So there's the Midland Empire Ghostbusters that I'm with, but also the Justice League, and they're another group that does all DC Marvel characters and do charity events for like St. Jude's and lots of children's programs.
Stand down while you can. Arthur Curry is under my protection by order of Queen Atlanta.
Relinquish him to us, Mara.
Or what?
Or we'll take him over your smoldering corpse.
You are welcome to try.
So right before COVID hit, I had bought the suit on Amazon. So it's one of those printed bodysuits, but I wanted to like amp it up a bit and make it look a little bit more like movie authentic. So it's actually when we were all in quarantine, I was working from home and everything. I was able to sit there and cut out like millions of little hexagons out of heat transfer vinyl. So it's got all these little holographic, shiny greens that are like ironed on all over it, and then gold fabric paint to kind of highlight all the different features that were already built into the suit, but just kind of make it look a little more realistic and not just printed on the spandex. So then the crown was 3D printed, and the trident is actually the little kid's trident that you can buy at Target. And one of my friends told me this trick where you buy the kid version and then you just put it on either end of a shower curtain rod.
Oh.
And it makes it the height that you would need for an adult. So it's just spray painted and everything. But that way I've got, that costume to be part of the Justice League.
Wow. So, and that is the Just Us League.
Yeah.
And they are a local group that helps out with quite a few different charities. So that's amazing. And again, thank you so much for being a part of those groups and for taking the time and just all of the effort that you've been able to put into giving back to your community. That's it's just remarkable.
It makes it I don't know, I guess it's more fun than just walking around at a convention to like, it's really great when you can see the little kids' eyes just kind of light up, and especially if they're not expecting you to be there. So.
You have a still suit, and friends at home, a still suit is something that helps you live in the desert. We can go down the Dune rabbit hole anytime. I love talking about Dune. The book series is one of the best. Frank Herbert's an amazing author, and being able to characterize Dune, any character, and you did such a great job with the suit. Your character, your characterization of, I'll probably say this wrong. I think it's Chani.
There's Chani and Chani is what I listened to the audiobook recently. They said Chani. I was like, but I think it's Chani in like, at least in the 80s movie. So
I think they call her Chani in the movie for sure. But I think they downplay the character a little bit in the movie. The book has a lot more going on with the 80s version. Of course, they did remake them a little bit later. I played the video games endlessly. And yeah, there's I don't have a ton of notes here, but really, if you anything that you'd love to share about Dune and how you came up with the concept of the still suit would be amazing. Of course, long live the fighters. I have to plug that because this is it's just fantastic.
It was kind of Dune's another one of my favorite movies. My dad is a big Dune fan. I think he's read all the books. He let me watch the movie, even though my mom didn't want me to, and she would make him fast forward through the Harkonnens. It kind of started because I was dressed as Sigourney, I think, at a convention, and somebody said, "You actually really look like Sean Young," and that's when I actually did the Blade Runner cosplay, because I was like, wait, I could do that. So I made Rachel's suit, and I was Rachel the replicant. I haven't gotten to wear that anywhere except for a photo shoot. But then when I started getting more comfortable with foam building and things, I was like, okay, this is my challenge thing. This is what I'm going to do since I didn't get to do Ripley at the convention. Now I've got all this extra time. I'm going to spend all year making this still suit, and I'm going to be Chani. So it's all been a giant lesson in engineering a cosplay, because I think I probably could start all over again and do it very differently. But I do like how it turned out. It's just a bit fragile. I would probably change a few things to make it more sturdy and easier to get in and out of. But it is just a black bodysuit. And then I bought 300 feet of irrigation tubing.
Oh.
So it has real tubes all up and down it everywhere. And it's I used upholstery foam, which a lot of people will do if they want to make muscle suits for underneath their Superman costumes and things. So those catch pockets that are all over the still suit are made like people usually do with muscles, as they carve upholstery foam and then cover it in the stretchy fabric. So that's what I did with that. And then there's other pieces that I did more with EVA foam, where it didn't have to move as much or be as I wanted to be able to sit down and everything, but the arms are EVA foam pieces, and the back piece that goes over the top of everything is an EVA foam piece. And there's just lots of buckles and all kinds of things in the nose tube. And I think the one thing I found very late in the game is that black shoestring probably would have been my choice of tubing, because that is just way more flexible, because I can still walk around, but I walk around about as good as an Iron Man does.
So it's kind of a bulky suit when you have the whole thing on. Does it take a long time to put on?
It does by myself. I think if I could have somebody else to kind of help lift it and get it up to my shoulder level, that's what I need help with. There's no real good place to hang on to it without risking to ripping off a piece, which is part of the problem. So I probably would put in a giant zipper all the way down my leg or something if I did it again.
So it really is truly almost like an actual still suit. It's fairly complicated. It's hard to put on and wear correctly, and it's a little bit takes a little getting used to. But it's so just act like I was just like, no way. I mean, when I saw that, I'm like, she made a still suit. I freaked out for real. I thought it was just it was so close to the way that it was in the movie, the way that you weathered it and you put everything together, and just it's so cool. And then you really you did the character so close. Yes, it really, you look like Sean Young, and you have kind of the way that she does her hair and has everything kind of I mean, it's a little bit more ornamental, the way that she has the headpiece for the character. But yeah, it just really, really well done for Dune. And if you're a fan at all, I certainly want to appreciate all the hard work that goes into a cosplay just like that. Awesome.
Thank you.
I do have one question for you, kind of as we come to the end of the cast. That I guess something that I was curious about is, what would you say is the number one skill that you've developed with cosplay that has been the most useful for you to build each costume?
I'd say is like something I use a lot. Is just looking at like household items, things that you just see around, and being able to use that to make something for your cosplay. So you might have a very difficult shape that you're trying to come up with, but there might be an item out there that is that shape or close to it, that it just takes a little bit of paint or glue or something like that. Everything I had in the Facehugger there was just laying around my house pretty much. And I made a jetpack out of V8 splash bottles and Easter eggs.
Wow.
And I wish I had brought that up, because that's kind of one of my things. I just spray painted some V8 splash bottles, because I went to the store and I was like, something here is going to have a cool, not just 2 liters, but something with a cool shape. And V8 Splash has got this really ornate bottle actually underneath the wrapper. I have another thing from the anime Attack on Titan. We made the flying gear that they wear on their hips.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And my son likes to zoom around in that. It was made from they have these little round pieces where the wire is supposed to wheel up inside of it. That is actually mashed potato containers from KFC. So it's like it's just like things like that. There was another round piece I used, was like the lid from peanut butter, and I stuck jiggly eyes all over the top of it and painted that. So it's just kind of like using your imagination to use what you've got around you when you don't have like that big budget and you don't have a 3D printer and things like that to create everything from scratch.
Yeah, so it's really important for the audience too, that you don't always have, and I know your name is FancyJen, but you don't always have to be quite so fancy with your cosplays if you don't. It's the fancy part is the creativity and the imagination that goes into what you make. Not necessarily that everything has to be just so with the Ava foam or with a 3D printer where you do all the renderings and then it's exactly what you designed, but to be able to think outside of the box and make something, take some just everyday things and turn it into this amazing prop or part of an amazing costume as you have, is just really, really cool, and really cool for anybody who's looking to get into cosplay to know that you don't have to go crazy with expenses. Yeah, you can find things around your house, and that can get you a long way. One last question for you, Jen. What do you feel that cosplay impacts within yourself?
I'm always been a rather shy person, and so I found it with theater too. You get that opportunity to just be something bigger and outside of yourself. And so with cosplay, you can be incognito a little bit, and it gives you a little bit more freedom to kind of be yourself outside of yourself, I guess. And could be somebody like Zool, or or like, this is not, you're not going to go to work like that ever, but you get to dress up and just act like you never would in another situation. Get to wear princess dresses and all that, the
Mhm.
wigs and all this stuff. And it's like, you get to try out so many new things. I think that, so for me, it's like getting to explore a whole different kind of art form and express myself in different ways that I probably wouldn't be able to do in another situation.
I married the monarch. I don't even know who this person is.
Really just appreciate all the work that you have put in to all of the costumes that you have so far done. They are amazing cosplays. And yes, I am so happy to have had you on the show, Jen, and to be able to share these things. It's really just a great, just great expression, great creativity. And yes, um, where can we find you and how can we support you online?
I am on Instagram and FancyJenCosplay. Also on Facebook, FancyJenCosplay, and TikTok. It's my latest thing. I started in November. It's been a lot of fun, and I do have a Ko-fi account too, where I just say it's my virtual tip jar to kind of, if anybody's interested in helping me, make the next costume. Um, and I do have some like digital files from different photo shoots we've done that are up for purchase. Um, but that's about it. I do have Twitter, but I haven't really used it that much. Maybe people can find me there and I'll get more use out of it.
Yes, we will definitely look for you online to support you. I will have all of Jen's information in the show notes in the description below for the video and the audio. Be sure that you are following Jen for all the amazing things that she is coming out with across social media. And of course, if you can support, please do on Ko-fi and with her prints. They are fantastic, every single one. So once again, Jen, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show and speak with us today. And yes, this is Scotty B with the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary, and we will see you next week, everyone.